Cedric Leighton, what did you make of the attack itself and the manner in which it was carried out? Do you think it was carried out by just a group acting on its own, or were they part of a bigger group, perhaps Al-Qaeda?
Well, I think, Anand, they could have done it certainly on their own. It was possible to plan something like this, but it's very clear to me that they had training. And the question is, where did they get that training? So there are some reports right now that indicate that they were trained, or at least one of them was trained in Yemen. Possibly another one went to Syria. This is, of course, in the very beginning stages of the investigation, so we're not quite sure exactly what happened. But the techniques that they used, the tactics that they employed, make it very clear to me that they had some urban warfare training. They understood what they were doing. They understood the capabilities of their weapons that they were using, which were AK-47 rifles. And they were able to use those weapons in a very effective, very targeted manner. So these people had experience. They clearly had the training. They may have had direction from elsewhere, but it was not necessary for them to carry out this type of mission and this attack.
Okay, Cedric, the French Prime Minister said that the two suspects were known to the French intelligence services. In fact, one had been in prison and had a record. Was there an intelligence failure here in that respect?
It's a possibility, Anand. And the reason it's a possibility is that every time that an attack like this occurs, it's actually a victory in some respect for the terrorists. Of course, the intelligence agency's job is to prevent these kinds of things from happening. Now, the reality of the situation is that Charlie Hebdo presented what they call a soft target. And it was very hard, in spite of some really top-notch efforts, very hard to prevent this kind of attack from happening. I mean, what editor gets police protection on a normal basis? What journalistic staff gets that kind of a cocoon in which they can conduct their business? It's very rare, and the French government did try to provide that, at least in part, to the magazine. But when they did that, they also, of course, were doing this over time, and the longer you do this kind of protection, the harder it is to maintain that protection, and every government that does this is going to be faced with the same situation.
Cedric, what are the dangers of a backlash right now? We heard from a French judge, a very alarming statement, in which he said that the French have to get used to the idea of terrorism. It's here to stay. It's not going to be eradicated.
Anand, I think the whole idea when it comes to backlash is it's always possible in cases like this. Yes, these people were well-trained, appear to have been well-trained. There are other fellow travelers with them. It's pretty clear, that the French police have picked up, I think it's about 9 extra people, and those 9 people may be part of another cell, or may be part of the same cell. It's very early to tell, but if they're part of the same cell, it shows that there was a lot of logistical preparation, and that logistical preparation would entail the possibility of a very strong backlash. So the French judge has a very good point to make, and I think that not only is there an ideological issue here, but there's also that operational momentum that these groups may get from attacks like this, and that's, I think, the real danger in this case.